Hello and greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This video is a clip from my upcoming video on Volo's Waterdeep and Ceridian, which is the last chapter in the Waterdeep Dragon Heist adventure book. This clip covers Waterdeep's walking statues.
The Walking Statues. Over a century ago, just one of these 8 behemoth statues stood visible at the northern foot of Mount Waterdeep, on a bluff called Gull Leap. 90 feet tall, it resembled a bald human staring out to sea. Later events caused it to be transformed into the statue known today as the Sahuagin Humboldt. When the spell plague gripped Waterdeep in 1385 DR, 6 more walking statues suddenly appeared in the city, wandering to wreak havoc even as the Sahuagin Humboldt remained motionless. The authorities and citizens of Waterdeep succeeded in stopping 3 of these new statues, breaking the Sword Maiden and the Hawkman, and sinking the God Catcher into the street, up to its waist. Then all the statues mysteriously stopped their rampage, just as quickly as they had begun it. Sara Chadran, the Blackstaff at the time, could not command them to return to their former hiding places on the ethereal plane. Consequently, the city repaired itself, and built up around them. Much later, in 1479 DR, the 8th statue, the Gryphon, emerged from the ethereal plane, to defend Oghair Ron's tower against intrusion. It roosted there for a time, before flying to its current position, near Peaktop Eyrie on Mount Waterdeep. Once more, this activity seemed to be outside the Blackstaff's control. Thankfully, all the walking statues have been dormant for well over a decade now, serving only as beautiful, cyclopean reminders of Waterdeep's might. The God Catcher. This is perhaps the most famous walking statue in the city, thanks to its dramatic pose, its nearness to the market, and the self-evident magic of its existence. The statue is of a well-muscled, but impassive male human, with its left leg sunk to the hip in the street, the result of a spell cast by the Blackstaff at the time of its rampage. Its left hand and right foot press against the ground, as if it is trying to pull itself out. Its right arm is raised skyward, and above its open palm, floats a sphere of stone. Its gaze looks up toward the sphere, and the pattern of bird droppings around its eyes gives it the appearance of weeping. All about the statue, climbing up its chest, and on its knee and shoulders, is a tenement that carries the name, the God Catcher. The tenement's landlord is Andra Blackcloak, an unsociable sorcerer, who is rarely seen in the city, except when she alights from the door carved in the floating sphere, which serves as her home. On the rare occasions when she wants to meet with city folk, typically to purchase odd substances for magical purposes, she appears unannounced on balconies or rooftops after dark. Her dealings are polite, though, and she pays fair coin. She never confides in anyone, or talks about her own doings, and if anyone but she has ever seen the inside of her spherical home, they have said nothing publicly about it. The Gryphon, the walking statue called the Gryphon, is shaped like the beast for which it is named. Though it stands on all 4 legs, its back is fully 20 feet off the ground, making it a mount fit for a storm giant. Although it has shown itself to be capable of flight, with the granite feathers of its wings spreading like a bird's, the Gryphon now merely stands in a regal pose, near Peaktop Eyrie, atop Mount Waterdeep, looking to the southeast, over the dockward. Newcomers sometimes assume it to be a monument to Waterdeep's Gryphon cavalry, but Waterdavians know better. The Sahuagin Humboldt, for years, the only visible walking statue of Waterdeep, was known simply as the Walking Statue. It stood at the foot of Mount Waterdeep, near the head of Julthun Street. Then, after its critical role in defending the city against an invasion of Sahuagin in 1370 DR, Kelvin Blackstaff reshaped the statue into a Sahuagin. It now bows low toward the House of Heroes, on bended knee, a gesture of obeisance to the city, and an acknowledgement of the sacrifice of all who fought for the city, in that war. The Great Drunkard. This walking statue stopped its rampage, as it approached the market, then fell backward, and sat upon a building. When it settled, its arms fell limp at its sides, and its head tilted forward onto its chest, giving the impression that it had fallen asleep. The statue's huge stone battle-axe still stands nearby, its haft angled upright, and its blade half buried in the cobbles. The rubble of the crushed building was long ago rebuilt into a broad stone stair, with railings and a ramp, that drunkards are often rolled down, that ascends from the cobbles to the statue's lap. That lap now holds a two-story tavern, also built from the rubble, called Gralkin's Tankard. The unconscious pose of the statue, and the tavern in its lap made the name of the great drunkard a natural fit. The Lady Dreaming. This fair lady caused much chaos when she was active. The statue has the appearance of a female elf, whose hair and clothing appeared to flow naturally, as it walked through the city during the spell plague. When the walking statue stopped, this one toppled onto its side, taking on the appearance of a titanic sculpture of a noble lady, asleep in her garden. The Hawkman. This statue looks like a winged, hawk-headed being, and thus locals call it the Hawkman. I can reveal that, in fact it bears much resemblance to an Arakakra, one of the bird people said to live in the star mounts, in the high forest. The statue's wings are folded tightly against its back, and have never unfurled, leaving its flight capability uncertain. It was brought low during its rampage across the city, and now it tilts decidedly toward the northeast, due to a missing right foot, long ago broken up for building rubble, along with its right arm. Its left arm is extended out toward the north, palm forward as if in a gesture to say, "Stop." The body been hollowed out, and turned into a tower shared by several wealthy tenants, which is officially known as Sparant Tower after its owner. The statue's left hand extends over a courtyard to the north, wherein lies the entrance of a tunnel carved through the arm. Visitors and residents can ring a bell, in the courtyard, whereupon a door guard acknowledges the ringer, and lowers a rope ladder for tenants and expected guests, or a rope chair, that is drawn up for guests who are infirm, or laden with heavy items. The Honorable Knight. The Honorable Knight is a statue, of a male warrior in plate armor, with a shield and longsword. When the walking statue stopped, it bowed to those opposing it, straightened, sheathed its sword, and doffed its shield, setting it point down on the ground and upright by its side. It then ceased motion in this position, facing southwest, toward the harbor, and looking for all the world, like a castle guard standing at ease. The pose it assumed, led to its naming, and it is viewed with respect by the citizens of the Southerly wards. The Sword Maiden. This statue appears virtually identical to the Honorable Knight, except for its female form, and open-faced helm. It was felled during the spell plague, after causing much chaos and slaughter. The residents of Waterdeep's North Ward funneled much of their frustrated and dismayed reaction to its rampage into dismantling the statue, parts of which can now be found all over the North Ward, either incorporated into buildings, or as bits of freestanding sculpture. The head of the Sword Maiden sits in a stand of tall trees, in the center of the block of the North Ward, bounded by Hassanter Street, Tarzar Street, Wyelgond Way, and Usselbrun Street. The center of its jaw and mouth have been replaced by a door, which leads into the shop known as Thort's Findings. Undevor Thort is a wizened ex-adventurer, who leans on a cane, which some locals insist is more than just a cane. He lives in the small shop, whose many levels, staircases, and landings fill the hollowed-out interior of the head, and which is crammed with oddments sold to Thort by adventurers and other travelers. These items bear little placards in Thort's beautiful, flowing handwriting that identify them, or at least provide speculation as to their origin and purpose. Nobles and wealthy merchants, who desire props for themed revels, often rent some of Thort's wares as decoration. And many sages, alchemists, and wizards visit him regularly, in search of potentially useful items.